Welcome to the channel, it's Ladewaybac here, and today I'm going to show you guys how to play Dhalsim. First, we're going to start off with a technique that will shoot you right up to diamond, so let's get right into it. Welcome to the channel. I am Ladewaybac in name and in practice. Now the technique that'll shoot you right up to diamond is this right here. Now look at that damage, man. Look at the damage we get off of that. Now what I'm doing here is I'm jumping off the ground and immediately doing a teleport afterwards so I can hover over them and do a punch. And to the 4 kick, medium kick, and to a EX Yoga Flame. And then using the medium version of the special. You can use the light version as well, but it'll do less damage. But it goes further, so if you find yourself like a little farther away from your opponent, don't do the medium version because it'll whiff. So that's when you do the light version because it's going to go further. Now let's say you don't have meter to use your super, or maybe you don't want to use your super, maybe you want to save your meter. Go for a heavy slide after the EX Yoga Flame. After that, go for a light slide, and then immediately grab your opponent. Now let's say our opponent is getting used to our grab and he's teching our throws. So we do it again, and he's taking our grabs, man. What do we do now? Well, this is what we do. We can just keep doing this. As long as they want to tech the grab, that's the tool that we have. And with our Yoga Levitate, same way as we do our teleport. As soon as we jump off the ground, we do the Levitate as soon as we jump off the ground. That way we have enough time to come down with our heavy kick and then do our combo. Although that didn't combo that time. But don't do it from off the ground. You want to jump, do it, and then come down. And that technique right there will skyrocket you into diamond. Now, after diamond, or not even after, like once you get to like diamond 2, 3 area, all the way up to masters, that's not gonna work as efficiently. People are just gonna, as soon as you do the teleport, they're gonna be ready for it every single time, man. Most people that I fight are like stop me at 100% of the time if I'm doing it raw. So if you are gonna use it, be sure to do it when you're thinking your opponent's gonna make a move like a fireball or something, and then you go for it. But as for just throwing it out randomly, that's not gonna work at probably diamond 2 and up. But before that, especially if you're like the silver gold area and even the platinum area, it's gonna work on people. They are not gonna be ready for it. Now I wouldn't abuse it. Don't abuse it because then they'll start trying to train their mind to get ready for it. Just throw it out every now and then because as a Dhalsim player, you have plenty of tools to use in between that. But just throw it out every now and then and just get your damage. Now it is important to know your fastest button, especially if you're a zoner. So if not crouching punch. Crouching light punch is 5 frames. This is 4 frames, so this is what we want to use. This is our fastest button, so if they're trying to do certain block strings on us and you know there's an area where you can interrupt it, a lot of times you can't interrupt with a 5 frame, but you can interrupt with 4. So keep that in mind. And if you are to interrupt your opponent, after you do the standing light, go into the crouching light. And then do a drive rush combo afterwards, which will be this right here. Now you don't always have to use the drive rush, you can just do your Yoga Flame from that. But I find it easier to confirm if you just go into drive rush, especially even if you're doing just crouching grabs. Go into the drive rush and do your back medium punch, which is this, into your Yoga Flame. And I'm going to show you right now while finishing this way is very important. And finishing with Yoga Flame is very important because we get a setup off of it, which is kind of similar to our previous setup. After we Yoga Flame, we teleport immediately, and we are right next to our opponent, which we apparently still have grabbing. So soon we'll be right in position to grab him, or to punish that grab, like we were doing previously. And then we go right back into our loops if we want to. Mix it up and go for a grab, and then we're just throwing 50-50s at our opponent. And let's say our opponent just wants to jump out of it, man. He doesn't want to deal with the grab, and he's like, I can just jump away since he might teleport. I mean, he might hover and do his heavy kick. But let's get this right. If he jumps, our heavy kick's gonna hit him anyways. So he's getting punished no matter what he does. Now let's say you get your crouching jabs and like you're not fast enough, or maybe you're not used to going into drive rush after that. Maybe it comes too quickly. You can also do a EX fireball, and that'll get you knocked out. The thing about that is you want to wait for your opponent to let's take that off right there, to land. As soon as he lands on his back, you're gonna teleport. And then it's the same kind of setup. You'll be right behind him, and then you can grab or go for your jumping heavy kick for your setup. Now you want to wait for them to exactly land on their back first, because if you do it too early, then they'll end up sliding the other way if they're doing a backwards roll. So you want to avoid that because you can't get a setup off of that. So as soon as they hit their back, teleport. Now when you're playing Dhalsim, it's going to be mostly about the zoning. An important thing about zoning is knowing your buttons. And you're gonna have to know your ranges of your buttons and how fast your buttons are. Now let's take heavy punch first. The startup is 16 frames, so that's a pretty long startup, and the total amount of frames is 46, so that lasts a very long time. So if you're throwing this out, you're gonna want to hit it from max range to be on the safe side. So if we're hitting it at trying to hit it at max range here, the thing about that is if our opponent jumps, he can't punish us because he's too far out. Now if we do it too close, we get punished every time. So you want to know your position before you throw this out. Now like let's take a heavy kick. Heavy kick also goes pretty far, and you know if your opponent's like starting a jump, you know you might catch him there and it'll knock him out of the sky. Now the good thing about heavy kick, though the bad thing about heavy kick, is that it can be crouched. So if we have our opponent crouching, it's gonna whiff go over his head every time. But if he's standing, if it hits, we can cancel. So you want to keep that in mind. That's a good reason to throw it out. And also we can get our punishes from this. So if we get a punish counter, we can just go in, do something like that, the medium Yoga Flame. So you know it's basically drive rush in and then do our one heavy punch, and then going for the back kick, and then going for Yoga Flame. Basic Dhalsim stuff. Or if you're at the perfect range, I don't really do this, but you can hit a slide afterwards if you're at the right range, which is something you don't really want to worry about until you're like really comfortable with Dhalsim, because you're gonna want to know the range for that. Now, if you're far away and you hit it, you can always just do a heavy punch. This is like the easiest option, so I suggest you go for that if you're starting out. And once you get used to it, you can just drive rush in and do your thing. Now for our mediums. Standing medium goes pretty far, 14 frame startup, and our medium kick is a 12 frame startup, but a shorter distance though. So that, like I said before, you want to know the position you're at. If you get hit from here, go ahead and throw it out. If you get hit from here, throw this out. Just throw out the faster option as long as you know it'll connect. And with Dhalsim, you're always gonna want to look out for jumps, so that's also important. And another important thing, a huge important thing, is drive rushes. Now let me I'll just set it to Jamie. Okay, so a lot of times your opponent will jump. They'll jump like right in front of you and then immediately drive rush. And if he's drive rushing you and you hit a button like that, you're getting hit every time. So you want to know your range so you don't get caught like this, because if you hit it from max range, you can still get hit by this. So you might want to check yourself. So one thing you can do is your crouching medium punch. This right here can be canceled. So if they get this close to you, you can just drive rush right back at them. So if you possibly can, instead of throwing out the medium kick, if they're this close, you want to throw out the crouching medium because you can cancel it. This is very important because they will try to drive rush you. I promise you, in all stages that I've played Dhalsim, they always try to drive rush you. So when you get the opportunity, just throw this out. And you don't always want to cancel, because if you cancel, they can still drive rush. And you'll be caught in the yoga flame, and then or yoga fire, and you'll still get hit by the drive rush, which can be dangerous. So I don't always cancel this. Don't always cancel. Just like I like to throw 2 out, because if you throw 2 out, let's say you throw out 2, it's the recovery is so fast that, like, let's say they're jumping, you can still block. I throw this out while they're mid jump, I can still block after that. So if you get the opportunity, throw this out. And you can cancel sometimes, but don't always cancel, because you're using this to fish out for their driving packs, and you're also looking out for the jump in. So this is a dangerous area for Dhalsim, so that's why this is such a good button to throw out, because you can stop the drive rush or the drive impact, and you can also block jump ins. Now, we already went over the crouching punch and the standing punch, so we already went over the light punches. Now for the light kick, it's basically the same thing as the crouching medium. You know, be careful about doing yoga fires, because if your opponent is blocking, then you can just kind of jump it and just get a clean jump in on you. So, you know, if they're in this range, just be sure to throw it out, look out for drive impacts, and look out for jumps, because, you know, basically the same thing I said about the crouching medium. Now let's talk about the slides, because, you know, they're also a part of our buttons. Now our heavy slide goes pretty far, but it can be pretty dangerous on block, especially if you use it up close. So what you want to when you're gonna use it is like if you're trying to go under a projectile, or if you're trying to you know, if you hit it max range, then it's a little safer. It depends on how close you are. So right here is -5, so that can be punished by a jab or a light attack. So if we hit it right at the tip, we get -3, so we can block after that. The same thing with the other slide, the medium slide. See, that's 0 frames right there. So we wanna, if we're gonna hit it, we wanna know the range of it and hit it right at the tip. That way we can be safe on block. So it's very important to know the ranges. Now with the light version is kind of iffy, right? Because like even when I try to hit it max range, it's like at best I can get -4, but I don't really use it to go in. What I use it for is let's say our opponent is jumping in on us. If we don't have the time to, or maybe we don't have the mind to anti-air right there, we just kind of get out of dodge and it was kind of reset neutral there. So I use it more as like a movement ability, because it's fast. It's kind of like a dash in itself, right? The dash feels is like a total of 25 frames, and this is like a total of 26. So they're kind of just both dashes, except one could be one is basically an attack. So another cool thing you can do, this is in the practice combos, is you can throw this out and a slide and then make both of those hit. So if you're throwing this out and your opponent sees it's going up and it tries to move in on you, you throw out your slide and make both of them connect, and then you can just do your back kick. And especially in those, if you're gonna use our level 1 there, I usually use level 1 for every combo I do for Dhalsim. Well, for most of them at least, especially when they're after the EX Yoga Flame. So if they're far like that, so if you're doing this, they're most likely going to be far. So you want to use the light version, that way you can connect. So if you use the medium version, although the medium version will get you more damage, the light version will go further. So, you know, if you're far away, I said this before, but if you're far away, use the light version. And one button I did forget to mention is the Crouching Fierce. Now this isn't a bad button. It's not exactly great, but it does go under projectiles. That's the use I find best for it. If somebody throws out a projectile, you will go under it and you can get a nice range attack. This is a button I exclusively use for Guile. Sure, you're still susceptible to jump ins. You're at the perfect range for a jump in, but you know he's gonna be throwing out sonic booms like crazy at this range, so you just catch him. This goes under projectile, so I say this is the anti-Guile button. And also if somebody's using projectiles in this range, obviously you can throw it out, but yeah, I use it mostly for Guile. Now another button is this back kick right here. Like usually it's used for combos, but I also use it to stop drive rushes. If I see a drive rush coming, then I will, this is the button I use to throw out. And it's 7 frames, you know, the range isn't bad, so I think that's best to throw out for a drive rush. It's even faster than the light kick. That's why I think it's best to throw out. Now, it's gonna be harder for like somebody like Jamie with like a really good drive rush, because you could get caught like that. With most characters, you'll be able to catch them with the 4 medium kick. Now we're going for a change of scenery. This might be a better place for you to watch a guide. So just to show you, since I was saying projectiles, but I never really showed it, what to do, why this is such a good button for against Guile, because you can just go right under it. You know, I promise you can. Just like that. You go under the projectile and you deliver a blow right to him. So if you can see that coming, you got your slides to deal with the projectile, or you can just go right under it with a crouching fierce. Next, let's go over our anti-airs. Now, our back heavy, we can't really follow up with anything with this. You know, we can't do a special cancel it, or we can't really get much off of it, but it does do a good amount of damage, and you're less likely to clash, as you see there. I'll change up the jump attack. Maybe pick a better one, the heavy kick. So even if like it looks like we're about to clash, we won't, because if we did something like the back heavy, then he can stop that. So that's what makes it so good. It's like he goes down, so it's just like it'll definitely just punish everything without you taking any kind of retaliation. Next is our back medium, our 4 medium punch. This is our fastest option. So if you like, maybe you catch the jump a little late, you have a fast option to just knock your opponent out of the sky, and then you can also cancel with it, so you could like make them land into a yoga fire. Or you could switch it up to a vertical one and do something like that. But yeah, this is your fastest option. Next is our 4 heavy punch, or our back heavy punch. This goes really far, man. It's like the best anti-air in the game right here. Go ahead, just knock your opponent out of the sky. It's really good for if your opponent likes to jump your fireballs. So you can just knock them as soon as they try to jump over it. Or sometimes you can that'll even knock them into the fireball. If I can set up me and the computer at the right time, you can just knock your opponent right into the yoga ball, yoga fire, just like so. And also we get some pretty good combos off of it, right? So we get to drive rush in and then do it again into a yoga flame, which is 24 damage right there, 2400. And another option that I like to do is go into the back medium into the yoga blast, which does less damage, but you got setup after it because you can teleport and grab or do the hover there, as we've gone over earlier. So we get set up off of that. And one unfortunate thing that I don't like is that if we do it, we can't get our super, which we would be able to get off of if we were to do this. If we were to do it in another situation where we get a yoga blast, we can hit our level 3, but not if we do it as an anti-air. It'll always whiff. But let's say you do want to add some extra damage. You do Yoga Inferno right there, and you can get some extra damage in. But yeah, that's my favorite anti-air. We can get a lot off of that. And our last anti-air is our Yoga Arc, which is a nice thing to throw out there. It might make your opponent stop in their tracks, and especially if you just throw it out and they happen to jump into it, we can combo into it. So them just making a bad jump can end up making them lose 3,000 health. So, you know, be sure to anti-air with Dhalsim, man. It's very effective. And they're going to want to jump. Trust me, they're going to want to jump because, you know, you can be throwing out all these ranged moves at them. So they're going to want to jump, trust me. And lastly, about the Yoga Arc that I want to talk about is the EX version. It hits twice. And also, if it doesn't hit them, it will bounce. And you can really create some really strong situations here. So what you could do is you could like teleport and make it hit them like that, which will cover you if they try to counter your teleport, or if like you're trying to chip them out, or they're just in a gray area in general and they're close to being chipped out. That's the time I like to throw it out the most. I just throw it out there, I'll teleport, and you know, if they move up or they move a different direction, it will bounce towards them. So it puts a lot of pressure on them. So don't shy away against using this, because you put your opponent in some really weird situations that they will not like. Alright, now let's talk about our air moves. Now our jumping heavy slash, not heavy slash, that's Guilty Gear. Our jumping heavy punch has a huge distance to it. We can be maxed up here, and it'll still connect. We'll be at the max of our jump, still heavy punch, and it'll still hit. So this is very good, and then you could go into your one heavy punch, and then you can just kind of combo off of there. You know, depending on like the distance that you hit it from. And hit him with the level 1. So yeah, this is a great button to do. It has like, it takes up so much space, and it's just really good to just kind of throw out there. And our heavy kick though, as you already know, we use that to bait out the grabs, and also it's a really good anti-air. So if we have him jump, well, that was a bad example. We can be moving while we levitate, and just kind of kick him out of the sky, so that's also great as well. And if we're levitating, you want to do the kick. It's a good way to just come down with it. I usually go for the heavy kick though, because you know I'm trying to combo. But if you're in an area like this, then the kick will be best. So if you're like mid floaty, just go for the medium kick and it'll land down. So like come on, I mean it's Dhalsim. You gotta know all the buttons and like what ranges they do. And this is your only cross move button. This right here, your kick. So a lot of times, if you're like doing a full teleport like this in the air, your opponent can like move towards you and end up on the other side. So like the punch, none of your buttons will hit except the kick. So if you see them trying to go under you, as opposed to like standing still, then that's when you throw out their kick, because it's the only button that you can cross with. And as you know, this is the best option for the punch. Or if they're trying to jump at you, you just kind of back punch there. It's also not that bad. And now one of my favorite ones. Yeah, I think I went over the other ones. One of my favorite ones is the punch. I mean the medium punch. Because if you teleport back in the air, you can do it as right before you land and get a nice little retreating attack. So if they're trying to chase you to the teleport, they get punched in the face. And another cool thing to do. Yeah, well before I move on, I just want to put on the importance of this. If you're teleporting backwards, be sure to throw this out, man. It is very effective. You would get some nice hits on there, and you could just combo it with another punch as well. If you get like a punish hit, which you will get a lot, and then you can just medium punch again. So let's say I'll just show you here. So we get a punish. You do something like that, easy damage, or even do the kick. I don't think anything else works. I never really try to do the punches, but yeah. So just do another punch, or just do a kick here if you get a punch counter off of it. And one last thing that you can do with the jumping medium punch is if they jump at you, you hit them. It's your only thing that you can teleport in the air with. Like it's the only thing that you can cancel from the air. Is your medium punch. So if you hit it in the air, be sure to teleport behind them, hit them with that heavy, and then combo afterwards. It's a situation I like to look for. If I see my opponent jumping and I'm already in the air, I always medium punch, and then we can just fall on them for the nice cross. And most of the time, people are not ready for that. And if they are, you can just land and go for a grab. And also, don't sleep on the yoga drills, which are these right here. If you hit that at the sweet spot, where it just hits them in like the kneecap, then you'll be plus, even if they block, which will make them block now. Then we have a 5-frame advantage, which is pretty huge. But you know, if we don't do it at a good distance, then we'll get punished like really bad. So these -9 frames, he can punish you with almost everything. So be careful about throwing it out, but just know that you're plus if you hit it like around the knee area. And if you have, for different corresponding buttons, it does different distances. So the heavier the button, the shorter it goes. So just know the distance and just be on the lookout for it. So maybe if you're even going in your yoga hover, you go from there, you know the distance, and get some positive frames. So you could land, you could go for a grab, or you could just start going with some jabs. Or let's say you hit it. And just go for your setup afterwards, which is very important. I really want to emphasize how important it is to get your yoga blast or your EX yoga flame and go for a teleport setup. It is so important to do that and get your grabs or to bait out grabs. Is where I get most of my damage when I'm playing Dhalsim. So don't sleep on the yoga drill. I know it can be dangerous to do, but you get so much from it if you hit it in the right area. Another move we got Yoga Mummy. What's good about this and what's different about it is we can cancel it. So we can teleport away you know, do our medium punch as we were just going over. Or the more dangerous option is to go on the other side and do something like that. If I was to do the mummy, I'd probably go with the kick instead and kind of land like that. And yeah, that's basically Yoga Mummy. You also cancel into the air projectile as well. Just kind of hit him with that. But it's kind of dangerous to do, but you know, I usually just go for the teleport back because it's the safest option. And I just kind of reset something, reset neutral there. So don't sleep on Yoga Mummy either. Yoga Mummy is really good. Don't use it too much, but you know, you have so many options. You should always be throwing out everything you possibly can and just kind of rotating through everything. So your opponent never really knows what to expect. And lastly, we got well, we just kind of mentioned it, our jumping fireball. We're kind of open here. If they go under the fireball, they just kind of run up on us and just, you know, get a combo. So you want to be careful when you throw it out. And one problem I have with Dhalsim is like being cornered. So if I do want to switch sides, other than going for a teleport or going to Yoga Mummy teleport, another thing you can do is do the EX version. The thing about the EX version is you can cancel it and you can, you know, do a teleport. So you can even land a combo like this. Because look at this. When you teleport, they're gonna have to block on the other side, so they might not be ready for that. A lot of people aren't. So you hit that. Do a full combo. That's almost 4,000 damage right there. So don't sleep on that either, man. Yeah, Dhalsim doesn't have a lot of difficult combos, man. It's mostly just something into Yoga Flame or something into EX Yoga Flame. Either one, you're gonna get some good damage off of. So that's really the base of Dhalsim's combos. Now let's talk about Drive Impact. Now people are gonna be trying to use Drive Impact on you a lot, and if you set the situation right, then you can counter theirs. You know, especially if you're throwing out these crouching mediums and like kind of baiting them into go into it. So if you hit it, you'd always do our one heavy punch into a heavy Yoga Flame. Do it again. Or we do our EX Yoga Flame and just level 1 afterwards. Or just like we were going before, we could just do a slide afterwards to hit it. I'll just do it again. And you know, set up afterwards. So basically the same thing we were going over. I mean, that's kind of the pace of Dhalsim's combos. Now in the corner, one cool thing with Dhalsim is after Yoga Blast, you can hit this crouching heavy, the one heavy kick. Now we hit a Drive Impact. Alright, let's take that off the punish. We do our one heavy into the Yoga Blast, and then we go into the one heavy kick. And then we that's almost 3,000 damage right there off of like 3 things, off of doing just 3 things. And then they're in the corner again, and then you can just kind of go for it over again. Or you can do this corner combo that I'm about to show you. Now if you got the corner, you can get a pretty nice combo on your opponent. It starts with this back kick right here, the 4 medium kick, into a yoga arc, the heavy version. Now, one thing you want to be wary about with this is if your opponent is crouching and you're not on them and you just like a step back, it'll go over their head. So you want to be sure you're right up on them. And like the thing is, like, you have to hold back in order to do the kick. So you want to do it at the same time so you don't lose any distance from your opponent, and then it'll hit. If you're just like a step back, it's going over their head. So you want to make sure you're right next to them. And after that, you want to do your punches, your standing punch to a crouching punch, just like so. And after you do that, the timing, you got to do it pretty fast, so you don't want to lose the combo. See, I just lost it right there. So you want to do it really fast, because he recovers a lot faster than he looks. And after that, you're going to do the drive rush combo that we did earlier. And then we end with that kick though. That's a different thing. Instead of doing teleport there, we end with the one heavy kick. So I'll show it again. Heavy kick. And that's a good amount of damage. We got 2,700. And then they're right still in the corner, and we can mix between the grab again. And just keep doing it over again, making them guess between taking huge damage or taking a grab. Now let's look at the frames if they're blocking. So let's say we do this again. We are +2 frames. +2 frames. That means when we do our jab, that's definitely gonna come out before they do anything. And I find that a lot of times opponent will try to interrupt me after I do the yoga arc, because it just kind of looks like Dhalsim is open, and then I'll get the punches, and I'll still be able to do the combo anyways. But if they end up blocking the whole thing like so, after I get here, I drive impact. And then it tends to catch people a lot as well. So if they're blocking the whole thing by the end, instead of doing a yoga blast, just go for a drive impact. Or if you want to you could just grab during the drive rush part. So do this, you can just grab right there. So, you know, always keep your opponent guessing. Dhalsim's corner game is is pretty good, you know, for him being a zoner. And now we're pretty much at the end of the guide, so let's go over a few miscellaneous things. Let's say we're doing our projectile game. Be sure to switch out the speeds, because opponents will do different things, like try to parry it or jump it. But if you throw it at a different speed, I find a lot of times they get hit because they're expecting it to travel a certain speed. And like I throw up mostly the slow ones, right? And then eventually I'll throw out a fast one, and it usually hits because, you know, I'm switching up my speeds. Also remember that you can hold the button and get 2 hits and a knockdown. A good thing about throwing out the slow projectile is you can teleport before it hits, or teleport just before it does hit. And it's a great way to, like, if your opponent is getting you close to the corner, it's a great way to change sides. So if you see yourself getting like pushed back into a corner, say I'm pretty close to the corner here, just throw this out, and maybe they'll try to counter you when you teleport, but it's gonna stop the big damage because, you know, there's yoga fireball right up on them. So that's a great way to switch sides so you don't get pushed into the corner so easily. Here's a combo you can do if you want to cash out all your meter. Into the level 3. So it's basically just doing 1 heavy punch into 4 medium kick, and then drive rushing again, and then, you know, just using all your resources to get the maximum amount of damage you can get. And if you're looking for an easy way to get your level 3, you can also always just anti-air with it. Or when you're doing your drive rush combo, which I find one of the easier ways to do it. And just level 3 after you hit that yoga blast, which I probably should have done. Like so. We'll see how much damage it does here. So almost 4,000, which is pretty good damage. So, you know, you catch your opponent with some jabs and it's close to where it's the end of the fight, go ahead and throw it out there. That's one of the easier ways to get it out. If you get a grab as Dhalsim, or maybe you're in grab range, if you hold down and do grab, or down and grab at the same time, you'll toss your opponent rather far, and then you can get the zoning game going on once again. And if you do a close range grab, and they roll backwards, what you can do is drive rush forward into medium slide and maintain the pressure. And let's say they were to block that, then you're still 5 frames plus. So if they want to roll backwards and after the grab, then you're gonna put them in a really bad situation where you're either gonna be plus or you can combo them. Now let's say our opponent doesn't roll backwards and they're in place. We can just go and just grab them again. Or if we have enough time, maybe it's gonna be iffy if they grab immediately. So I'll show you right here. As soon as you find where the grab is at, on the throw, it's on wake up. No, I didn't say it. And they break the grab. If they don't do it immediately, I believe there's enough time to jump. Yep, just like so, and then you can catch them off the jump. So you have to time it really good though. The timing is kind of iffy, man, because I know I've done it before, but they might have delayed their grab. So it's kind of hard to do. You kind of have to be picture perfect with it. So, but it's there though. It's there if you want to bait out the grab. It's hard to do. If you can't do it, then go for a kick. But like everybody's not always gonna grab immediately on wake up. They might delay just a bit. So I find myself usually hitting there. But if they're grabbing at the exact time on wake up, it could be kind of iffy. But you know, the option is there. So if they're not rolling backwards. But you know, most of the time, especially in earlier rankings, most people roll backwards. So just keep that in mind. And lastly, the last thing I would tell you as Dhalsim is don't be afraid to levitate on a regular basis. If your opponent is throwing fireballs, here, let's get old boy to do some fireballs. Well, just the one is fine. If you do the earliest version of your levitate, just as quick as you possibly can, you will dodge all fireballs. So keep that in mind. And also, you know, it's just a great position to be in because you can yoga drill from here. You do the kick if they want to jump, you can just do the kick out of there, or you just yoga drill if they're close, or you know, you can do so much from the levitate, and then they can't really throw projectiles at you, and if they do, you just gotta throw this out as well. So you have a lot of options of there. Be sure to abuse this, man, and you don't always have to do it at the same range. Just kind of do it from here. You just kind of forward. Just, you know, keep your opponent guessing, man. This is a very powerful move, and you can get a lot from that. So be sure to, like, if your opponent is trying to fight you from max range, just keep throwing this out, man. Just keep throwing it out and just keep levitating. And then you know what? Throw a little something out. Just, you know, maybe catch them with this, or if they're jumping at you, just hit them with a kick. There's so many options you can do from there, man. My Dhalsim game got so much better when I just kind of started throwing that out, especially against my bad matchups. And that is my guide to Dhalsim, man. And if you follow these things that I taught you here, you're definitely gonna get to Diamond 1 at the very least. Just this thing right here that I talked about at the beginning of the video, this will carry you. even if you're not a good Dhalsim player, this will carry you, bro. Just trust me. It'll at least carry you to Diamond, maybe late Platinum. But you know, even the Platinum players this will work on. You know, sure, there's gonna be one every now and then who stops you from doing that quick teleport, but most people aren't gonna be ready for that. In Master or in Mid Diamond, everybody's gonna be ready for that. I promise you. So don't rely on it too much, okay? But if you're just trying to climb the ranks, then just teleport your way to victory, man. And don't be afraid to use levitate. The levitate is very strong, man. Do not sleep on this move. You use your levitates, your teleports, and you know. And like I said earlier, be sure to use all your buttons and know the ranges of all your buttons. You gotta know the range so you don't end up whiffing or doing something while you're too close and end up getting countered, because a lot of these things are hit and they'll be negative. So, you know, be sure to do them in the right area, man. Just zone properly with Dhalsim and he'll show you the way, bro. Dhalsim is an extremely fun character. I always thought that he was gonna be too hard for me to use, but yeah, that turns out not to be the case. You know, I had to put in the work, but you know, eventually things just start coming naturally. You just do them naturally, and then you get to that point where you can add new stuff to your game, man. So if I left anything out, and you know, there's something you know as a Dhalsim player, and I maybe forgot something, be sure to leave it in the comments. That way, other people could learn, and even I could learn, man. Because that's what we're all here for, right? To learn some Dhalsim. So yeah, leave a like and subscribe if this video has helped you anyway, man. And I appreciate you watching the video. And I will catch you next time.